Welcome back to the TaraElla Report. This episode is part of a special series where I redo early episodes from several years ago, correcting the terminology and concepts that I may have misused or wrongly explained back then, and clarifying things that weren't made clear enough. Today, we're going to look at the real implications of the critical theory worldview. The two parts of this episode were originally filmed as two episodes back in 2018. In the first part, I take a look at the claim that some radical people appear to wish to destroy much of the structures and institutions that make up our current society. This episode was a response to an episode of the Rubin Report featuring Professor Janice Fiamengo. In the second part, I focus specifically on why critical theory thinking is inherently harmful to family values. I agree with Professor Fiamengo in that it would be definitely unwise to pull everything down in the hope of building something better. You simply can't end up with something better. What we already have isn't perfect, and we should aim to improve things gradually. But what we have still represents centuries of innovation and adaptation. I believe that if we were to start from scratch, things would be much worse. I also think that this view would simply be common sense. So why would some people wish to take the grave risk of knocking everything down and rebuilding everything from scratch? I think it would be difficult to understand this without looking at the critical theory worldview. In the critical theory worldview, all of our cultural norms and institutions are seen as a manifestation of capitalism, and their purpose is to reinforce capitalism to prevent its collapse. As critical theory believes that capitalist relations are inherently oppressive, it follows that our cultural structures are similarly oppressive. This applies to institutions like family, marriage, our system of representation in government, our education system, even the scientific method in extreme cases. This also applies to values that are believed to support the market economy, values like individualism, respect for free speech, and so on. Criticalist radicals believe that all this simply has to go, because they are all oppressive. Of course, this is sad and misguided. It is truly sad that some people can believe that family and marriage, the fundamental nurturing institutions of humanity, are oppressive. Critical theory tends to see oppression everywhere, and this can be dangerous. I believe that traditions are strongest when they are allowed to evolve to be inclusive and adaptive. I'm a strong supporter of gay marriage, but there is a big difference between allowing some changes to a tradition versus acting to completely destroy it. The fact is, humanity needs marriage, and we need to protect it from being dismantled. Now we're going to talk about how critical theory worldview ruined our family values. By family values, I don't mean the kind of anti-gay rhetoric the Bush administration is famous for. I'm a strong supporter of gay marriage. By family values, I mean valuing the structure of society as made up of strong, stable families founded on committed, ideally lifelong relationships. True liberals are just as keen as conservatives in upholding families as a broader concept. From the liberal point of view, families provide a layer of separation of individuals from broader society and are hence important in guaranteeing privacy and liberty. Furthermore, the aggregation of individuals into family structures is a natural, biologically ordained way, and historically liberals generally uphold natural things. On the other hand, the critical theory worldview, sometimes wrongly promoted as progressive, thus often attack family values. In the critical theory worldview, families are not seen as natural or good. Instead, they are seen as a social construct to prop up capitalist relations. From this worldview, it would therefore be a good thing to weaken family values. In fact, many critical theory-inspired socialists have written about their desired future where people live in communes rather than families. Of course, this is against the natural, biological nature of humans, and I can't imagine any good coming out of this project. However, unfortunately for us, some people out there do believe in ending family values. Therefore, I believe it is important to actively defend families against attacks. We need to emphasize that the formation of the family is the natural way of living for humans. And then more generally, radical criticalist critiques of culture are often misguided and potentially destructive to civilization. That's all for today. I'll be back next time to discuss another big idea. Until next time, remember to resist conformity and stay positive. The world depends on it.